Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining to our Open Up show. This is 160th episode. Thank you, everyone, for your continuous support. Please do so. And my name is Sivam Velautham, and I am the founder and president at Voice of Men 360. Voice of Men 360 is a non-profit organization founded in 2020, and it is based in London, Ontario, Canada. Vitamin 360 was born out of seeing a tremendous need and stepping up to provide services to help support and overcome men and boys' life challenges. We are part of International Men's Day. International Men's Day has been serving for over 25 years, and so far, around 95 countries around the world join together and doing various activities regularly. IMD follows six pillars, which is the overall well-being of boys and men. We follow in the same footsteps. Why open up? Because we men do not open our hearts and willing to share our matters with anyone. When we keep our emotional challenges within ourselves for a longer time, at some point they will explode and it will affect our mental health or health conditions in many ways. That is why we want to create an open space and allow individuals to share their life journey through our platform. We aim to create awareness about the life challenges, struggles, overcome, ups and downs that our boys and men go through in their lives. There are no limitations within gender, age, nationality, or ethnic groups in sharing your life journey. All walks of life can participate. Our goal is to make a positive impact on someone's life through this program. Open Up is on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We bring an individual to share each show and let them share their life experiences with you. Before I introduce our special guest for today, I would like to go through our disclaimer. Um, we would like to remind you that Voice of Men 360's mission is always delivered good faith toward peaceful harmony. The views and opinions expressed in today's episode are those of our speakers and do not represent Voice of Men 360. Our organization engages in discussion forums to offer inspiration and create awareness of the issues of men who wish to overcome their life challenges. We are not providing medical or therapeutic advice. Should you require that type of assistance, we recommend you contact a medical professional immediately. If you have questions or concerns about today's episodes or any VoiceOmen 360 content, please email us at info@voiceomen360.org. Like I said earlier, we do have an amazing guest today to share his life journey with us. Uh, his name is Baptiste, President and founder, Rising Men Alliance, coach, author, and speaker. He is joining from Montreal. Good evening, Will.
Good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Thank you
Uh,
for having me. It is
Thank
a
you for joining.
pleasure and honor.
Thank you. So let's start. Of course, you have lots of things to share, but I want to share. I want to begin with the midlife crisis or your turning point in your life. Can you share some of them and how did you overcome?
Oh, absolutely. I think I've got so many turning points in my life, but the most recent one was about close to 4 years ago when I found myself at 40 years old um, going through a second divorce. And it was really hard for me to conceptualize that because I didn't see myself for the second time going through this again. And at the same time, I had just lost my baby sister due to COVID. I was going through a lot, um, but the turning point for me was really the fact that I wanted to use my my story. I wanted to live again, and for me, it was I had to continue to live in order for me to be able to share my story. So the turning point for me was just at some point that's I got to do something. And actually, the real turning point what I got was a voice, an audible voice that said, "Will, rise up." And I look around, and I was sitting in my couch by myself, and I heard the voice, and I'm like, "Wow!" And I look around, there was nobody, so I know I wasn't going crazy. Um, so that was a turning point for me to hear that voice so vividly as if somebody was talking to me. I say I knew at this point that's I was going through what I was going through for a moment like this. And today, 4 years later, and as I'm an author, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker. So that was a turning point for me in my life. Wanted to live again. And one thing that I've read recently, it says the most dangerous man is not a man who's not afraid to die, but is a man that have everything to live for. And that's, to me, that's dangerous because now I have found something that I need to live for. And that was my turning point. And the way that I overcame it again is by sharing my story, by being vulnerable, by being open and honest, and by expressing my emotions. There's this thing in this world where men, have to be stoic, men have to be tough, men have to be aggressive. But on the flip side of that, my turning point turned me to be vulnerable, to be soft, also to be expressive.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. And people says, like everything happening for a reason, right? So um, now you are helping other people, right? Because you went through that and then you had experience and then you are ready to share, willing to help others too, right? What I want to ask you is that the supporting mechanism or supporting system that you had over those, I mean, in those moments, it is it cannot just simply by ourselves or simply with one person. It is very hard. So, what are the some ways or some supporting system that you had? Can you share?
Yo, absolutely. Besides being a coach, I do coach men, but I also wanted to expand a little bit more to be able to reach a lot more people. And I said the best way to do that is through a nonprofit organization, which is called, and as you mentioned earlier, Rising Men Alliance. And that's the way that I'm able to kind of reach out a little bit, wider and further to be able to help other men because I know what it's like. I know what it feels like to be marginalized. I know what it feels like to not have a voice. I know what it feels like to feel suppressed, oppressed, and repressed, especially when it comes to our emotions. So I'm using this vehicle alongside other vehicles, but the main vehicle that I'm using right now is through either my coaching or the nonprofit to really set the tone and also to create that space for men to know that hey, you are not alone, first of all, and your voice matter. And I want to create that space for you so you can come in and you can be yourself and express the way that you need to express your voice and your emotions. Because when we hold everything in, especially our emotions, but at some point it's like a bomb that's ready to go off because there's so much buildup, there's so much frustration, so much anger, so much rage that we gotta find a way to do that. And in order for us to do that, it's gotta be done in a safe space. And that's what I'm doing, creating that space so that man can feel heard, feel seen, and being able to express themselves.
Absolutely, because once you understand or understood the struggles or the pain and the suffering, and you can understand, you can recognize it, you can understand those. Some people they can come out from those moments or situations and then willing to help. Not everybody, right? And if you look at it, we don't have enough space, not enough space to for men to overcome or even showing their emotional challenges, right? Verbalizing their challenges, though. So let's talk about the father figure. How important is a father figure in a boy's life? What do you think?
Oh my God, it's very important. I mean, I'm a product of a boy that was raised without a father. Not only was not raised without a father, but I wasn't raised with a father figure either. So for me, it is absolutely critical because the fact that I didn't have it, and I see the importance of it. And I think whether it's your own child or being a mentor to another boy, this boy is what he's gonna grow up to be a man. And I always said it takes a man to raise a man to be a man. And I know there are a lot of, especially in our community, there are a lot of single mothers that are quote unquote raising their boys. But I often say a mother cannot raise a boy. A mother can only love a boy. A mother can actually raise a daughter, but it takes the man, I believe, it takes a man to be able to raise a man to be a man. So it's very important. Well, first of all, it takes two to have a child. So if it takes two to have a child, it definitely takes two to raise a child. However, in some circumstances, sometimes it's best not to have this type of male energy or this type of male figure in the boys' life because they're not being great example. But however, this little boy need a male figure that's gonna help him to get through this life because this life, as we know it, is tough. It is tough. Society is not gonna spare you the rod. But if we don't have a male figure or somebody that's going to help this boy to not to be tough, but to be assertive, to be a man and to know how to behave himself in this world, it's going to be tough. So I think it's absolutely important. Me as a father of two boys, it is critically important, and that's what I want to be able to be there for them when they need me. Because in this life, they're definitely going to need somebody to kind of gear them into the right path.
Absolutely. If you look at some of those statistics or some researchers actually showing that wherever we see some kind of youth violence or any other even substance abuse or anything domestic violence or anything, you see that because of the boy missing the father figure or father presence in his life, early childhood. So that is very important. Thank you for sharing that. So just moving to your professional life, how are you helping your clients through your profession? Can you talk about that?
Oh, absolutely. So the way that I help them out is really about helping them understand three things. The way that I help them is what I call the triple A effect. Triple A effect. The first A is awareness, and as a man or as a human being, period. But in this case, as a man, you cannot navigate through this world without know who you are, your true identity, because your identity is not what was given to you. It's not what was told to you. It's not even your name. Who are you at the core? Self-awareness. Socrates says, knowing thyself is the beginning of wisdom. You have to know yourself. And the reason why I say you have to know yourself, because I remember, for the better part of my life, and I told people that I've been lying, and they're like, "Well, how could you say you've been lying?" I'm like, "Yes, I've been lying because here I am telling somebody who I am, but not even fully know who I really am. So what am I telling them? I'm telling them a lie. The program, the way that I was programmed, the way that what I was told that I am, and it wasn't until that I had to dig deeper into myself, into my soul, to know who I am. That's the only time that I was able to kind of really present myself. And the second A will be acceptance. We must accept who we are, even with our past. Doesn't mean we have to live in the past. Doesn't mean we have to tolerate it, but we do have to accept the past because that's part of who we are, and that's going to help us to have a better future. And last but not least, we have to take action. The action we have to take is what is it that I would want somebody to do for me, and then therefore I'll do it for myself. So it's awareness, acceptance, and action. Once we understand how this works, and that's the reason. That's how I'm able to help my clients to be fully aware of who they are, to accept the good, the bad, and the ugly, and to be able to take action for themselves. Because the worst thing that we can do is to play the victim, is to stay in that blame mentality, and we'll never be able to move forward.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Because the thing is, see, I already told, of course, you told too that you went through a lot of challenges. That's the way you understand your the life circle and things like that out there, and that's the way you came up with that idea. And then now you are teaching other men, even any gender. But what was the feedback or outcome from your in the last couple of years you're serving to those clients? How do you see the men when they came to you, and then by the time they leave from the training or from the session, things like that? How do you see the outcome? What was the result?
Oh, absolutely. More expressive than ever before. They are able to do, because my goal is by the time they leave my session, whether it's whether it's group session or whether it's individual session, there are five things they're gonna walk away with. The first thing they're gonna learn is how to identify the emotions, because I think it is critically important to identify the emotions that you're feeling. Because a lot of time, a lot of men don't even know the emotions. The only thing that they know is anger. That's the only emotion that they know. But you're rarely gonna hear a man say, "I'm sad," or "I feel anxious," or stuff like that. So it's being able to identify your emotions. The second thing that they walk away with is acknowledging their emotions. So once you understand, once you have identified your emotions, I want you to acknowledge it, because I don't want you to just throw it under the rug and act that it doesn't exist. It does exist. You have to be able to acknowledge it. Third thing they have to do, they have to be able to articulate it. Because a lot of times when we are feeling some type of emotions, usually, not all the time, but usually there's somebody around that somehow trigger that emotions or kind of say something negative or nasty to us. But are we able to articulate that emotion to that person? Because that person may not know that they just did something to you. They just trigger you. They just make you upset. They just did something to hurt you. They may not know it, right? So you have to be able to articulate it or verbalize it. But fourth, you have to be able to manage it. Because once you understand what you're feeling, but you can't let your emotion get the best of you. And last but not least, you have to be able to master it. Mastering it means that now that I have identified it, I have acknowledged it, I have verbalized it, I have mastered it, I have managed it. Now I'm going to learn how to master it so I can teach other people. Because I don't want a bunch of followers. I want to build other leaders. So by the time they leave my session, they're going to learn how to do those five things and to be able to go back to their community, go back to their family, and teach exactly what they were taught in my session.
That's a amazing technique, man, because it's easier and easy to follow through. The most important thing is identify themselves. Earlier you said, and the other thing is that verbalizing. Once they, able to verbalize it, most of the issues or problems, it's kind of like they can actually manage it, right? Then they can, see what they can do. So let's talk about your organization, though. You wanted to start the organization, but can you share more details? What you guys are doing? How you guys are offering helping clients?
Oh, absolutely. So our organization right now, we are at the we're still at the beginning. We've existed about 2 years ago. Right now, it's really about bringing men together, mostly virtually, to really open up. Just like I do in my business, it's really a parallel to what I'm doing with the nonprofit, more on a bigger scale. So our goal is to bring men together, either virtually or in person, to really kind of discuss the thing that they face in a day-to-day basis, and how to manage those things. And what we want is just to create that space for them. But eventually, as we move forward and getting donation and getting help from other people and from other organization, our goal is to have a facility where it's going to be open 24/7. We're going to be able to receive men that are going to some type of, I don't want to call it crisis, some type of emotional turmoil, so to speak. Whether they are single or married, it's going to be a place where they're going to be able to come temporarily, to be, to come in and to really have a place where it can call home, so to speak. Because let's face it, sometimes we have a family, we have a wife, whatnot. Things are just going so hard, and we just want to be somewhere else. And not every man have the capacity or the financial ability to be able to go to a hotel or something like that. So we want to create that space for the men to come in and to know that they're gonna get the help that they need. So that's our goal. That's what we want to do, and that's what we're working on right now.
That's good. That's good. I'm happy to hear that you guys are starting, because we need more services or more organizations and more people, individuals to come forward and then willing to share or even willing to help offer services, because we probably we can only handful here and there, maybe one or two or a couple of them only we have right now, but we need more and more across the nation or worldwide too, to serve men, especially boys too. Let's move on to your community, how we can break the stigma, stereotype, and the cultural barriers. Specifically, I'm talking about the Black community, those struggles they are going through, men.
Absolutely. And when we talk about community, sometimes we look at it from outside of home. What we have to keep in mind, whatever community, what we have to keep in mind is that we already have a community within a community, and that is our home. So it has to start at home. It has to start at home. So there is already a community, right? What is community? It's a common unity. What do we have in common? What is it that we are trying to fight? What are we fighting for? Not what we're fighting against, but what are we fighting for? Too often we are fighting against something, but rarely that we're fighting for something. So a first thing that I highly recommend is to rally around one common goal, one common cause, right? And then in this instance, if you're a father or if you're a mother, you're at home, allow the boys to have a voice, allow him to express himself, allow him to cry if he needs to, allow him to be however he feels validated. Don't minimize it. Don't tell him to toughen up. Don't tell him that boys don't cry. Don't those traits, negative talk is going to it's not gonna be, we're not gonna be able to break that barrier. We're not gonna be able to break that stigma and that stereotype. That's the first thing. And then once we learn how to do that within our home, then only then we can go to a community. And I think it has to be with education. And I think there's a program there as well that we have to reprogram our mind, right? Because we live in a society where if for 100 years men have been stoic, and we know that stoicism does not help men. I don't know in any instance in our history that stoicism have helped men. It may have helped them at one particular moment or right then in that moment, but in a long period of time, it does not help us. So I think it's time for us to really look inside ourselves, right? Looking inside our home and see how are we helping those boys, because those boys that are being raised inside of the home are going to go outside and they're going to repeat what was taught to them. Now, let's just say we don't have somebody in the home to do that. Then why don't we as men that are conscious, that are doing the work, go out in our community and putting, workshop together, doing groups, community services together to bring that awareness. So let boys and men know that it is okay for them to come together, not just to talk about sports, not just to talk about cars and jewelry, but substantive stuff, the stuff that's going to help us to reduce the prison rate that's going, that are full with men, to reduce the domestic violence, and also to reduce the suicide among men.
Absolutely, man. Very, very important aspect, and also not only one community, ethnic groups. It's across the board. Every community, almost every community, they are suffering or they are going through these kind of challenges. So even I see it in my community, and then there are some cultural barriers and some. Family settings and things like that. The way we grow up is totally different from in the past or even now. And the next generation is actually facing a lot of challenges right now. So it's academic pressures and so many pressures going on within themselves. So we have to understand, let them grow and then be themselves. That's the most important thing is. I want to take a very short break, and then I will come back to you. I have a few more questions to you, Bill. Okay,
All right.
thanks. Um, so, friends, I do have a few quick announcements. This show open up is on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Anyone can join and share your life journey. And Willie is a Tamil live talk show. Is on Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern time. And monthly men's group meeting. It is only for men by men. And second Saturday of every month from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. through Zoom. No recordings. And there are no limitations to gender, age, nationality, or ethnic groups. All walks of life can participate in any of our shows. If you want to be a guest on any of our shows or willing to be part of our organization and help us directly or indirectly, please reach out to us. We would love to work with the individuals, professionals, experts, community organizations, associations, corporations, government officials, and businesses. Phone number is 226 289 8784. Email address info at voiceomen360.org. Website is www.voiceomen360.org. Facebook, and we do have a group and page. Please join our group so you can see our daily activities. Please invite your friends also. Other social media platforms are Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, VoiceOmen 360. We want to reach out to more people and help more. So coming back to Will, what I want to ask is that in the last couple of minutes, what does open up mean to you when you think about boys and men?
What a great question. What does open up means to me? Open up means to me being vulnerable. Open up means to me is not feeling ashamed, feeling guilty, and being able to express what I'm feeling. Open up means that I trust you. Open up means that also not only that I trust you to talk to you, but now I'm not gonna feel that you're judging me. And I think that's why most men don't want to open up because they're scared of the judgment. They're scared of feeling ashamed. Uh, and I understand that some men have opened up in the past before and they have gotten hurt, but that's because they opened up to the wrong person. And I would just say, use your wisdom, use your discernment to know who you can open up to. And if you feel like this is not the person that you can open up to, um, there are people out there like myself, like other groups, like other organization you can always call. But my thing is, please, whatever you do, find a way to open up to somebody that you know that will not necessarily give you advice, but also just to be able to get it off your chest. Because carrying that burden, carrying something for so long would only create what we call dis-ease in the body. And what I find out is that 90% of people that have got lung cancer are non-smokers. The reason why they have lung cancer is because of everything that they hold in. So please do yourself a favor. Do your community a favor. Do your family a favor. Don't hold anything in. Please let it out.
Absolutely, man. I really love that. That's a way we can create more space, safer space for men, so they can feel okay. You know what? There's a space. There's a place. There are people out there, so we can reach out to them. Even the thing is that even if I know something, okay, you know what? There's a support system out there or resources available, so then I can share with other people, right? That's the way we want to create awareness. So I just quickly I put all the social media links and contact information. What I want to ask is the last question. What is your message for those men and boys who are going through some life challenges? What's your message, man?
Absolutely. The message that I have is there is a hidden treasure behind every man's vulnerability. Your vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. It is your superpower. And I know that this word has been thrown around loosely, but being vulnerable is actually helping you to become the better version of yourself. Because if you can be vulnerable, then you are actually a way of you asking for help. So don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed. Ask for help if you need to, because actually asking for help is actually a sign of strength and not a weakness. It's quite the contrary. When you ask for help, that means you are strong enough, you are aware enough of your limitation. That's why you're asking for help. Only a strong person will ask for help. A weak person would not ask for help because they don't know what they don't know, and they don't know they need help.
Exactly, exactly. I love that. There's a question, if we can quickly address it. How can we better support Black men who are considering professional help for their mental health concerns?
What a great question. That's a friend of mine, Mark. How can we better support Black men? Well, listen, we got to be that example, just like I'm doing right now. What I'm doing right now, literally, is helping people. Is to allow myself use my story. And there's something that I said all the time. I say I use my mess as my message. I use my test as my testimony, and I use my story to create history. So what I'm doing right now is actually helping men when they see another man, another Black man, and I think that would give people courage. So I will highly recommend or help tell other Black men, if you're out there, if you have a voice, if you have a platform, please do use it, because you'd be surprised how many people you can touch and how many lives will be changed just through you using your voice and not being silenced. Because we all have a voice. We must find it and we must use it.
Exactly. It's a way of utilizing your challenge or your struggles, make it more strength on the other side, right? Because, of course, there's a reason. Of course, everything happening for a reason, and then you had your own personal life trauma or life struggles, and then you overcome, and then now you are ready to share, willing to help others though. And it's a way of healing. At the same time, you are helping other people so they can overcome too, right? It's basically that's a way. It's a chain reaction. We what we can do, right? It's a very important, I think. More people, or some people, they don't want to share their life story or life experiences. You know what? Oh, they're going to it's going to be a judgmental, or they're going to judge what they're going to say, what they're going to think about that. No. Once you are absolutely ready to share, and then you are of course, it's a way of helping other people though. That's the way I see
And
it.
also, it's a liberation. It's a freedom. Once you share, it's a freedom. So you no longer have to carry that burden inside of you. Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks a lot, Will, for joining and sharing a lot of things. Either it can be a one line or one word or the whole story. I'm seeing a lot of positive messages in our discussion, so people can take it, and pass it. Don't just okay. Of course, you kind of analyze it within yourself, but at the same time, you want to pass it or you want to share with other people. That's the way you can create more awareness. We can reach more people, right? Thanks a lot,
Absolutely.
Will, for joining and sharing your life journey today.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Today we had an amazing guest, Will Baptiste, and then he shared his life journey. You can come and then you can share your life journey too. Please join us next time. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. Thank you.